The Anderson family reunion was in full swing when I arrived, fashionably late as usual. Not that anyone would notice. I was never the main attraction at these gatherings. That honor belonged to my cousins, the successful ones. I smoothed down my simple black dress as I walked into Aunt Patricia's sprawling Hampton estate. The sound of laughter and clinking glasses drifted from the back patio, where 3 generations of Andersons were celebrating their collective achievements. "Diana, you finally made it." My mother's voice carried across the marble foyer, tight with familiar disappointment. "Everyone's already here." I gave her a quick hug, catching a whiff of her expensive perfume. "Sorry, had some work to finish up." She sighed. "Still at that consulting job?" Before I could answer, my cousin Victoria swooped in, champagne glass in hand. At 35, she was the golden child of the family, CEO of Anderson Technologies, the company my uncle had built from the ground up. "Diana, darling." Her air kiss barely grazed my cheek. "We were just discussing the company's latest acquisition. $30 million in pure profit last quarter." She paused, examining me with practiced concern. What exactly do you do these days?" I bit back a smile, thinking of the meeting I just left. "Still consulting, small businesses mostly." "Oh, that's nice." Victoria's smile didn't reach her eyes. "You know, we're always hiring at Anderson Tech. Entry-level positions, of course, but it would be a foot in the door. Better than wasting your potential on whatever it is you're doing." If she only knew what I'd been doing for the past 5 years. While they thought I was scraping by as a small-time consultant, I'd built Phoenix Capital into one of the most powerful private equity firms in the country. We operated entirely through subsidiaries and shell companies, with my identity carefully hidden from public view. "I'm happy where I am," I said simply. Victoria exchanged a knowing look with my mother. "Well, if you ever want to join the real business world, let me know." I followed them to the patio, where the family dynasty was on full display. Uncle Robert, Victoria's father, held court near the grill, regaling everyone with stories of his latest business triumphs. My cousin Marcus, fresh from making partner at his law firm, was bragging about his new Porsche, and Aunt Patricia was showing off photos of her daughter Olivia's new fashion line. "Diana," Uncle Robert boomed when he saw me. "Come here, let me look at you. Still haven't found your path, have you?" I accepted a glass of champagne from a passing waiter. "I'm doing fine, Uncle Robert." "Fine isn't the Anderson way," he declared. "Look at Victoria, youngest female CEO in the tech sector. And Marcus just closed a $100 million deal. That's the kind of success this family is known for." I thought about the documents sitting on my desk back at Phoenix Capital, the ones that would redefine what success meant in the Anderson family. "Speaking of success," Victoria chimed in, "have you heard about our expansion plans? We're acquiring 3 smaller tech firms next quarter. The press is calling us the next big tech giant." What Victoria didn't know was that 2 of those acquisitions had already fallen through, thanks to some carefully placed competing offers from my shell companies. The third was about to be announced as a merger with a different firm entirely. "How exciting," I murmured. "It is," she gushed. "Daddy says we'll hit $1 billion in revenue by next year. The Anderson name is going to be bigger than ever." I took another sip of champagne, remembering the market analysis on my desk. Anderson Technologies was overextended, their growth projections based on acquisitions that would never materialize. Their stock was artificially inflated, held up by hype and family reputation rather than solid fundamentals. And in less than 24 hours, everything would change. "Diana," my mother touched my arm. "Your cousin Olivia was just featured in Forbes 30 Under 30. Isn't that wonderful?" "Very impressive," I agreed, though I knew the feature had been bought and paid for by Aunt Patricia's PR team. "You could have been on that list," my mother sighed. "You had such potential at Goldman Sachs. Everyone thought you'd be the next big thing in finance." I had left Goldman 5 years ago, tired of the politics and facade. Instead of climbing someone else's corporate ladder, I built my own empire in secret. Phoenix Capital now managed over $50 billion in assets, though no one knew the founder and CEO was the Anderson family's underachiever. "Times change, Mom." Speaking of change, Victoria announced loudly, commanding everyone's attention, "I have big news. Anderson Tech is launching our IPO next month. The initial valuation is projected at $4 billion. The patio erupted in cheers and congratulations. Uncle Robert beamed with pride, while Marcus started calculating his family's future net worth out loud. Diana, Victoria turned to me with false sweetness. You should buy some shares when they go public. A small investment might help you finally build some real wealth. I thought about the team of analysts I had working late tonight, finalizing the details of tomorrow's announcement. I'll keep that in mind. Poor thing, I heard Aunt Patricia whisper to my mother. She just never lived up to her potential, did she? Such a shame, my mother agreed. All that education, and what does she have to show for it? I checked my phone, knowing what was coming. Right on schedule, a message appeared from my assistant. Final papers ready for review. Press release drafted for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Victoria noticed me looking at my phone. Work emergency, she smirked. One of your little consulting clients having a crisis. Something like that, I smiled. Actually, I've been meaning to ask you about Anderson Tech's Asian market strategy. I heard there were some concerns about the semiconductor division. Victoria's smile faltered slightly. The semiconductor division's troubles weren't public knowledge yet. Where did you hear that? Oh, you know how rumors spread in the business world. I watched her carefully, especially when a company is preparing for an IPO. Everything is fine, she said firmly, but I could see the worry in her eyes. The IPO will proceed as planned. If only she knew that Phoenix Capital had spent the last year quietly acquiring controlling interests in Anderson Tech's key suppliers. Or that we'd already secured support from the majority of their board members for tomorrow's hostile takeover. Of course, I said soothingly. I'm sure everything will work out exactly as it should. The reunion continued into the evening, a parade of family achievements and barely veiled criticisms of my life choices. I sat through it all, sipping champagne and waiting for the perfect moment. At least come work for me, Victoria tried one more time as the party wound down. Family should help family, right? I looked at her thoughtfully. You know what, Victoria? You're absolutely right. Family should help family. And tomorrow I'm going to help you understand something very important about the business world. She laughed, completely missing my tone. What could you possibly teach me about business? You'd be surprised, I murmured, checking my phone one last time. Everything was in place. In less than 12 hours, the Anderson family would learn that success doesn't always wear a designer label or brag at family reunions. Sometimes it sits quietly in the corner, waiting for the perfect moment to show its true face. The next morning, I sat in my penthouse office at Phoenix Capital, watching the sunrise paint the city skyline in shades of gold. In exactly 1 hour, the business world would learn that Anderson Technologies was under new management. The press release is ready, my assistant, Marie, announced from the doorway. And the board members have all confirmed their votes. I nodded, adjusting my Chanel suit, a rare indulgence for days like this. And Victoria? Already at Anderson Tech headquarters, preparing for their IPO announcement, she scheduled a press conference for 9:30, a conference that would never happen. Perfect timing, I murmured. My phone buzzed, a message from Victoria. Thought about what I said. Last chance to get in on the IPO before we go public. Family discount. I set the phone down without replying. Instead, I opened my laptop to review the morning's announcement one last time. Phoenix Capital announces acquisition of controlling interest in Anderson Technologies. Effective immediately, the board has approved new executive leadership. At exactly 9:00 a.m., the news broke. I watched on multiple screens as the story spread across financial networks. Breaking. Anderson Technologies acquired in surprise takeover. Tech giants IPO plans halted by Phoenix Capital. Mystery CEO strikes again. Phoenix Capital's latest power move. My phone exploded with notifications. Victoria called 7 times in 3 minutes. Uncle Robert's name flashed across my screen repeatedly. Even Marcus, the hotshot lawyer, was trying to reach me. At 9:15, Marie appeared again. They're all in the lobby, the entire Anderson family. I smiled. Send them up. Victoria burst through my office door first, her perfect makeup already smearing with angry tears. Who do you think you are? You can't do this. We're announcing our IPO today. Uncle Robert was right behind her, his face purple with rage. Where is the CEO? I demand to speak with them immediately. Mom? Dad? They froze at my voice. I think you already are. The silence that followed was deafening. Victoria's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Uncle Robert gripped the back of a chair for support. My mother pressed a hand to her chest. designer bracelets jingling. That's impossible, Victoria finally whispered. I stood slowly, enjoying the dramatic effect. Is it? Let's see. Phoenix Capital, founded 5 years ago, currently manages assets worth over $50 billion. Known for strategic takeovers of overvalued tech companies. I paused. Sound familiar? You're the mystery CEO, Marcus stammered. The one they call the Phoenix. The very same. I picked up a folder from my desk. Would you like to see the numbers, Victoria? The real numbers, not the inflated projections you've been showing potential investors? She snatched the folder, hands shaking as she flipped through the pages. These are confidential. How did you? Your semiconductor division is failing, I stated calmly. Your Asian market expansion was built on fraudulent data. 3 of your top executives have been selling shares quietly for months. Should I continue? Uncle Robert found his voice. Now see here, young lady. No, I cut him off. You see here. For years, you've built this image of the perfect business dynasty. The mighty Andersons, too successful to fail. But it was all smoke and mirrors, wasn't it? I pressed a button on my desk, and the wall of screens behind me lit up with data. Real data. About Anderson Technology's true financial state. Your company's actual value is less than half what you've been claiming, I continued. The only thing keeping your stock price up was the hype around the IPO. An IPO that's now canceled. Victoria collapsed into a chair, her designer dress crumpling. Why? Why would you do this to your own family? I laughed softly. My own family? The same family that spent years mocking my career choices. The same family that offered me entry-level positions out of pity. We were trying to help you, my mother protested weakly. No, you were trying to control me. To force me into your version of success. I walked around my desk. But real success isn't about appearances or family names. It's about building something solid, something real. So this is revenge, Uncle Robert demanded. This is business, I corrected him. Phoenix Capital acquires underperforming companies and restructures them into something worthwhile. The fact that this one belongs to my family is, let's call it serendipity. Marcus stepped forward, straightening his tie. The board would never approve this. I'll have my firm. The board already has approved it, I interrupted. Unanimously. Check your phone. As if on cue, their phones began buzzing with news alerts. The stock was already plummeting as the market reacted to the announcement. Victoria looked up from her phone, tears streaking her mascara. You've destroyed us. No, I said firmly. I've saved you from yourselves. Phoenix Capital specializes in turning failing companies around. In 6 months, Anderson Technologies will be stronger than ever, just not under Anderson management. And what happens to us? My mother asked quietly. I pressed another button, and new documents appeared on the screens. You'll each be offered fair compensation for your shares. Generous severance packages for the current executives. And I smiled slightly. I might have some entry-level positions available. You know, a foot in the door. The irony wasn't lost on them. Victoria stood up abruptly, smoothing her rumpled dress. You won't get away with this. I already have. I sat back down at my desk. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a company to restructure. They left in stages. First Marcus, already on the phone with his law firm. Then Uncle Robert, supporting a shell-shocked Victoria. My mother lingered at the door. All this time, she said softly, you were building this empire. All this time, I confirmed, while you were busy being embarrassed by my small consulting business. She shook her head slowly. I don't even know you anymore. No, I agreed. You never did. After they left, I walked to the window, watching the city buzz below. Marie appeared with fresh coffee. Their security passes have been deactivated at Anderson Tech, she reported. The transition team is already in place. And the press. Clamoring for an interview with the mysterious Phoenix. Several have already figured out the family connection. I smiled. Let them speculate. Actions speak louder than interviews. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Victoria. I hope you're happy. You've torn this family apart. I typed back, no, Victoria. I've just shown you what real success looks like. Over the next few months, Phoenix Capital transformed Anderson Technologies. We streamlined operations, fixed the semiconductor division, and built genuine partnerships in the Asian market. The stock price, after an initial drop, climbed steadily based on real performance rather than family reputation. I kept my promise about job offers. Marcus now works in our legal department at entry level, of course. Victoria declined her offer. But Uncle Robert surprised everyone by accepting a position as a senior advisor. Turns out he actually knows quite a bit about technology when he's not busy promoting the family name. The next family reunion was interesting. Aunt Patricia still hosted it at her Hampton estate. Though the crowd was notably smaller, the usual bragging was replaced by more subdued conversations. And me? I sat in the same corner as always, sipping champagne and watching. Deanna, Victoria approached near the end of the evening, her designer clothes a little less flashy than before. I've been thinking about what you said, about real success. And? She hesitated. Will that entry-level position still be available? I studied her for a moment. Come by the office on Monday. We'll talk. As I drove home that night, I thought about success and its many definitions. The Andersons had always measured it in appearances, in stock prices and press coverage and designer labels. But real success, I'd learned, was about building something meaningful, even if nobody knows your name. The next morning, I arrived at my office early. The Phoenix Capital logo glowed against the dawn sky, while 40 floors below, the old Anderson technology sign was being replaced. Marie met me with my usual coffee. The board meeting is set for 10. They want to discuss the next acquisition. I smiled, thinking of another family-owned company I'd been watching, one run by distant cousins who'd always looked down on the failed Anderson daughter. Perfect timing, I said. Let's show them what real success looks like.